Challenges come in all shapes and sizes as an entrepreneur. Some of these challenges have nothing to do with running a business at all. On Outpatient Therapy, we try to focus in on what outside challenges are presented in everyday life. With us today, we have Caryn Willens, owner of Wellness Inspirations, LLC, to talk about improving your health holistically. Welcome, Caryn, to the show.
Thanks, Brad. It's good to be here.
It's good. Caryn, it's great to see you. And, we connected through Alignable, right, a while ago in some crazy breakout session, right? And,
yeah, we did. And we really connected.
It was great. We had I felt like it was easy to talk to you. And, you're a very, I believe you're a very positive person, But through that positivity, you've learned and grown throughout the years because you've had challenges that you've had to take on. And why don't you touch on some of those challenges that brought you to where you are today?
Oh, thanks, Brad. It's been a journey. So it started over 30 years ago with a lot of stress and a poor diet. Too much sugar. That was my main issue.
Yeah.
Which a little ironic because my background is I'm a dental hygienist.
Right.
And right. We teach everybody stay away from sugar. Well, I wasn't. And then I developed a debilitating disorder and was told I'd be sick with it for the rest of my life. And I said, I can't do what I'm supposed to do this way. And so I set out on a journey to find answers so that I could get well. And down the road, I got sick again. And that was about 20 years ago. All of my muscles hurt so badly that literally when I was working some days, tears would be coming down underneath my glasses and into my mask. My patients didn't know, thank goodness. But
I hate to hear that.
Retire early, and it's like, what am I going to do with the rest of my life? I'm too early. It's too young. I'm too young to retire. So I said, okay, let's find out how to get well from this. And I could actually feel my body deteriorating.
You said enough was enough, huh?
Yeah. It was just breaking down, and it's a very frustrating feeling, knowing what is supposed to happen and what wasn't happening. So I actually went back to school to become a doctor of natural health.
Oh, okay, nice. You were doing this at the same time you were a dental hygienist, right?
No, I had retired first.
Okay, you retired.
I retired first.
What year was that?
That was 1999, I take back 2000. It was in 2000.
Okay, so you retired in 2000, but you were having these issues, and you didn't go consult a doctor? That wasn't like one of the first things you did? I
did. I had gone to a specialist, and she gave me a drug, and she suggested a drug, and I just very inquisitively looked at her and I said, excuse me, have you read my medical history? And she said very indignantly, yes, why? And I said, well, then I've already had side effects that this drug causes. And I said, why would you do that? She said, well, if that happens, we'll just give you a drug to counteract it.
No, for crying out loud.
The light bulb lit up. And
yeah.
What's wrong with this picture?
Yeah, it just
I
it makes no
decided
sense.
I had to learn how to do it on my own.
You can't take 100 pills a day. I mean, it's not good for you. And like you said, one does this, one does that, it just, you're taking all these pills to counteract other pills, like you just said. And and then you got to wean yourself off of them. And I know this firsthand because I've been prescribed quite a bit of pills in my life, and I realized they weren't good for me. And I had to kind of wean myself off of them. And that's not easy. And that is not easy. You didn't feel a sense of hopelessness because you said your issues weren't getting better. The doctor really wasn't helping you out. I mean, you must have had a lot of stress and anxiety going through your mind, even entering into trying to learn something new with school.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So I also had what's called, in common vernacular, a brain fog. I just wasn't thinking clearly. I wasn't, my memory was impaired, so I really struggled when I was learning the curriculum for naturopathy. And of course, when you go to school, you learn in the book, you don't learn in the real world. So I've learned a lot since I graduated. Okay. Which has made me much better at what I do. But, going back to, where I was, I was feeling hopeless. All right. Wasn't the first time I had been there, and I was pretty determined. I'm a very determined person.
Right.
And so I said, all right, I got through something a long time ago. I can get through this too. And so that's what I did, Brad. I just let my determination move me forward.
Yeah, determination and eliminating the bad and putting in the good, right? That's what that's pretty much what you got to do, right?
Exactly. And know that there are answers for everything in life. Absolutely everything. I read
that
a
are
book
healthy.
once. Yeah, you and I talked about this, Brad.
Yep.
The book, The Road Less Traveled by M. Scott Peck. I had read that before the second time I got sick. And in there, he talks about the fork in the road. And we can make choices. And he says, if you want to be depressed, be depressed. But set a time limit on it. Okay? Pull yourself out of it. And that made a lot of sense to me. Do I want to stay here forever, or do I want to move forward in a positive way?
Yeah.
And inside of me, there was this person who was always very positive. And so I just decided to call on that person and let that person come forth over and overpower the feelings of helplessness and powerlessness.
It's like you have the devil on one shoulder and the angel on the other shoulder, right? And
exactly.
And the thing, it's just like with being an alcoholic or whatever, you got to admit that, hey, there's a problem here, and I need to be accountable and man up or woman up and take care of it.
Right.
It's not easy, though.
No.
You know?
It's very difficult. Very difficult.
Yeah, especially if the saying of surround yourself with positive people, that's if you want to be positive. I met some people in voiceover. Domingo Castillo comes to mind. These are very positive people, and they kind of blew my mind because it's like working in different professions, you got people that just hate their life. They're like, oh, God, this life, I just hate it. And it's just, life's too short.
It is.
And you're not going to achieve higher levels in life if you're not somewhat optimistic and positive. And like you have battled through a lot of the issues that you have with your body. But a lot of people are stubborn. They don't want, I have to eliminate sugar? No way. That's my favorite thing.
Yeah, the actual, I know the mind is powerful. And I know for me, back when I was 18, when I went to basic training for the U.S. Army, I had most of training is a mental game. They break you down mentally, then bring you back up. And it wasn't until, from what I considered at the time, that low, because I was broken down. It was an event for me. And then as I started building back up, your mind starts to get stronger, and you realize that, hey, you can do things. But I know with me, I had to have that event, so to speak, in order to change my way of thinking. Did you find that a lot? Yes.
So that's what happened to me the first time I was sick. Okay. That was my event. I had small children. It's like, I can't function this way. And, I basically was in the hospital for 8 days, and I sat and talked to God. And I said, listen, I don't know what it is I'm here to do, but if you help me find the way to get well, I'll help anybody I can. And interestingly enough, the answer was just what you were talking about, Big Jim. It was the mindset. I found the emotional connection to physical wellness.
Right
okay?
on. Yeah.
And I actually read a book that I was introduced to, and it literally changed my life. And I absorbed it like a sponge. And I was determined. That was my first determination, that this information is out there, and it's all mindset. And I realized, I took a look at my life, and there was so much negativity and emotional toxicity going on around me that it's no wonder I was in the shape that I was in.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you have to want it. And you know, like you said, that was the event. And once you become extreme, you know, the cliche, sick and tired of being sick and tired. Once you've had enough is when I think you're able to, you know, start growing and tapping into, you know, what we're talking about and stuff. So
yes, exactly. That's when you've turned the corner. You can mark a point in your life where things have changed.
Yeah, no more excuses. Absolutely.
Yes.
And I think like with vision boards and like calendars that track your production and, you know, those kind of things and those tools help you stay on task or on track with what you're trying to do, because you have to realize this, just like being an entrepreneur. I can't say this word today. Entrepreneur, being an entrepreneur, it's a long game. It's a long game. You're not going to get instant gratification with your body if you've been abusing it or not feeding it the proper nutrition. And, you know, you're big too on water. You know, how important is water in your life?
Well, the body, the different parts of the body are 70 to 90% water. Mm-hmm. Okay. And water is extremely important because we lose a great deal of water during the day when we breathe. Okay. Our lungs actually need that moisture to stay healthy. Our digestive system, it needs water, okay, to help lubricate what we're chewing, all right? And I don't mean drink gobs of water when you're eating, but the digestive system needs to stay healthy if we're dehydrated or when we're dehydrated, because 75% of the population is dehydrated, okay? The muscles will cramp up. That was part of my problem.
Yeah, there you go.
Why I got sick the second time. Because as a hygienist, I was gloved, I was masked. I couldn't stop what I was doing and say, excuse me, I'm thirsty. So I
didn't just use the water pick and just say, I'm going to borrow this real quick. And
no.
One for you, one for me.
So I was dehydrated, and the toxins that we take in, those dehydrate us even more. You know, there are so many things that cause dehydration that people don't even realize. And so that's why when a client comes into me for the first time, the first thing I say to them is, I'm going to apologize and warn you ahead of time that pretty much every other word out of my mouth will be water.
Yeah.
And it's that important. It's basic. It's one of the basics we need in life. And there are waters that are better for us and waters that are not as good for us. And so I learned all of that because I needed to learn it for myself. So I call myself my best guinea pig.
Yeah.
Because everything that I recommend to my clients, I've done. Okay. Right. And it's like, I would be hypocritical if I suggested something that I don't know what the results would be.
And also, how can you advise somebody to do something if you haven't done it yourself? I mean, what confidence do you have relaying that message? message. Because I remember when I first started voiceover, you know, there's things that I didn't know, and I just had to tell the people straight up, like, I don't know what that is. I'll do some research, but this is what I offer. Because if I would have told them a straight up, you know, a fib on that service, I mean, they'll find out sooner or later. And you got to have passion about what you're doing. You have to have that passion, that inner passion, and you have it. You know, you are a walking example of your hard work and dedication to what you believe in. But you had to have a mentor. And we talked about mentors. I think I posted a video on mentors a while back, and you were touching on your mentor, but that, you know, you kind of moved on through the practices of your mentor. Why don't you touch on that?
My mentor was in my life for somewhere between 5 and 6 years. That's how I found that book that I referred to a bit ago.
That blew your mind, right?
Did, yeah. And so he's the one who introduced the emotional connection with physical health to me. And he offered workshops, and I liked what he did so much that I actually volunteered to help him at his trainings and learn more, which I did.
Did you think he would say, oh, no, I'm too busy? Or did you think he might not allow that to happen? Were you nervous?
No, I wasn't nervous at all because we had a good connection. It was just joy.
Did you connect after the book? Like after you read the book, you connected with him, or before?
I connected after also. Okay. During and after.
Okay. Yeah.
He touched base with all of the participants in this workshop where I met him.
Oh, perfect.
And so I started talking to him and carrying on a conversation. And my views, I mean, while I was still learning and I was in infancy stage, okay, and it felt right to me. And so I connected with him on that level. And I was one of 4 people who actually encouraged him to start a training group to teach us how to do what he did.
Okay.
That's how, so now I actually do what he does. Okay.
Oh, okay, cool.
And so after he passed away, I had a dream. And in that dream, I was in a relay race. And I was standing at the start line. And I think, I don't know how I knew this, but I was like the third one to go. The last one to go. And he was third. And he was coming up behind me and passing me the baton. And that to me told
symbolic.
Me, yes, very symbolic. I was supposed to carry on his work. And I had a lot of learning to go through before that happened. But about, about 13 years ago, I think it was, I actually became certified in that work from the woman whose book I read.
That is awesome. That's cool.
Yeah. So go ahead, Brett.
You're certified as a personal development facilitator. What does this come under? The certification.
What certification? It's just a different certification, like personal development.
Okay, personal development. Yeah, because you're a certified emotional code facilitator. You're certified in that. You're a certified yoga instructor.
That's another story.
Doctor of naturopathy. And that's impressive. But these are things that you're passionate about, and it wasn't like a chore to go out there and learn.
No, these are all things I knew were right for me. Even so, I'm getting up in years, okay? And I don't like yoga. I never did. And I really didn't need another certification, that's for sure. I knew a whole lot of stuff.
Yeah.
And I woke up one morning about 6 years ago, and I said, I think I want to be a yoga instructor. And I double take on myself, and I went, what just came out of my mouth? Anyway, so I looked into it, and I thought, well, I'm a little crazy, but I did it.
Join the club.
Yeah. I did it. I became a certified yoga teacher. And I am so glad I did. I was, up until COVID started, I was teaching senior yoga.
Oh, nice.
Awesome.
And I had the dearest ladies, they looked forward to this. It was a social gathering for them, first of all, but they really, I asked them, is this helping you? They said, oh, absolutely. And so I loved doing that. And it was very rewarding, and me giving back the gifts.
That's the key.
That's what I'm all about. I'm very giving. I love giving gifts to people that I've gotten. Okay. I love sharing the gifts that I've gotten. And so that's pretty much who I am. I just share.
It's good to share the knowledge that you've learned, and because it works. It works.
I think that's the way the world is supposed to be anyway.
Anxiety plays a big role in a lot of people's lives. Like with Big Jim, he's experienced PTSD alongside myself. And anxiety has crippled my progress on many occasions in my life. And we've hung out together, and we've gone through some stuff, and we've worked on some of these things. But as far as anxiety, and I remember you talking earlier on when we talked before about grounding and earthing, these are important things. You don't realize how important it is to put your feet in some dirt. Talk about it.
Nature has all of the energies that we need, and we are supposed to be working in synergy with the earth. We take care of the earth takes care of us. And of course, this is an old Native American, I hope I'm being politically correct here, belief, okay? And other cultures believe it as well. And we have been divorced, so to speak, from these energies because we're inside. Okay?
All the time.
I live in Wisconsin, okay? We have winter here 8 months out of the year, guys, okay?
Mm-hmm.
You're going to have frostbite doing earthing.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And believe me, my tender little feet aren't going out there in the snow and the ice. Trust me. So,
Snow angels.
Yeah. So anyway, when I learned about grounding, I just grabbed onto it. It makes so much sense to me. And we also get certain energies from the air, okay? And they are certain charges, negative charges that the cells need, all of our cells in our body needs. And also from the sun. So you know how good you feel when you go out and it's warm and sunny, right?
You're at the beach.
Those are the rays of the sun. Some days I'll just, in the middle of winter, when it's really cold, I'll get in my car, I'll drive someplace because it's really sunny and it gets warm in my car. And I can feel the sun. Just little things like that. And so we have to know what affects us, okay, and what's not affecting us. So I've been working on the computer quite a bit the last few years. And what I've noticed is I am affected a lot by electromagnetic frequencies, which is something that many people are affected by, and they don't realize.
Yeah, how do you know?
Your body gets tired. Your brain gets scrambled, okay? Your body kind of creaks and doesn't recover as quickly. And so those are all things that are indicating. And it all affects the nervous system. And so you were talking about anxiety, Brad, okay? Mm-hmm. The nervous system is your brain, okay? And that actually is your motherboard, so to speak, in the computer. All right?
Yeah.
It affects your brain.
It does. Okay. And then add to that prescription pills.
Yeah, exactly.
That will mess it up too.
Yeah, exactly. And the drugs, the drugs, I in certain situations, if, God forbid there's a car accident, okay, take me to the hospital, okay?
Right.
But in normal everyday life, okay, there are natural approaches, everything, and the Old Testament says this, and not that I'm that much of a religious person, but I'm very spiritual. The Old Testament says we have everything here on earth that we need. We just don't know how to use it. Okay?
Yeah, or some are just lazy.
Yes, that's
Well,
true.
I think I like that because, like you said, the not knowing part. I know when I got back, with PTSD and anxiety, I covered it up with a lot of alcohol, a lot, and it didn't work, and I stopped doing that. But then it's like, well, then what the heck do I do then? So I love these different approaches, and had I known, maybe it would have been different,
Yeah. And I learned too. Okay, that's the whole thing. I just decided to make a switch, and you asked me, about 20 years ago, Brad. My journey with natural health actually started 44 years ago with my son.
Okay, yeah.
I diagnosed him as having a short attention span, and being hyperactive. That was before the terms ADD and ADHD ever came out.
Yeah.
And I worked with it all naturally.
Perfect. That is perfect.
I could not put my 4-year-old on drugs.
We have people nowadays putting their kids on Adderall.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, as a dental
dangerous.
hygienist, I specialized working with children, and I could tell the kids their eyes were glossed over.
Yeah, zombies.
Yeah.
It's sad.
So, that's one of my biggest accomplishments is helping my son get through what the challenges he was going through and doing it all naturally.
That's amazing. What did you learn through that whole process?
What I learned was that lifestyle was a big part of our health and wellness.
What was one of the keys to his being more focused and not so sporadic, so to say?
Not eating sugar and not eating processed foods.
Oh, yeah. That makes sense. That makes sense.
Yeah.
And I know to a certain age, I'm sorry, I was going to say, I know to a certain age, kids are kids, it's just how majority of the kids are. That's just the process of our bodies maturing or growing, I think it becomes a problem at a certain point. I'm not saying it's not a problem because I have ADHD and, I wasn't on medication until my 30s, and, I could tell the difference for sure. But as far as kids, at least, I don't know, I'd say late teens, or, something like that. But
yeah, all that is a short circuit in the nervous system. That's what it is. And usually it's caused by an imbalance in nutrition.
And it seems like a lot of these issues, the way you feel, everything starts in your digestive tract, right? Is that the case?
Yeah.
And if that's not running properly, stuff gets left out.
Right. So that was one of the first things that we learned in naturopathy is the digestive system is the first to go. So I'll say that to people and they'll say, well, I don't have any problems with my digestive system. They just aren't feeling it.
Right.
Okay. It's not working right. So whether it's the stomach, the liver, the pancreas, or the small intestines, something's just not working right.
Right. And just because I don't have a stomach ache, that's not the problem. You're fatigued or you're depressed or, you just don't, your muscles are tightening up. I mean, that's signs right there. You got to think a little bit outside the box on that. But why don't you let everybody know how to get in contact with you with wellness inspirations, possibly how to sign up for your blog. And I don't know, is December 7th, your next webinar? Is that what we're going to be touching on?
It is.
And that one is on nutrient dense foods, right?
Right. Yeah. And there are certain foods that we can eat that give us more nutrition that can make up for other foods that we're not eating. In fact, they're called superfoods. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Yep. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So how people can get a hold of me, Wellness Inspirations LLC, and I'm listed online and on Google, and my website is wellnessinspirations.online. So it's pretty easy to remember. And they can also email me at health, HEALTH, and then there's a hyphen, and then the second word is naturally, NATURALLY, at live.com. And so
That's
those
perfect.
are the best ways to get a hold of me. There's a contact form on my website, so feel free to connect with me through that too. I'm also
And you don't spam anybody with tons of emails.
No,
you send out two a month, and
2 a month.
that's all they need. And if somebody wants to sign up for the webinar that's coming up, they can just reach out to you and get that done as well.
Yes, exactly. I'm also on LinkedIn, and I'm on Alignable, and I'm on Facebook also. So feel free to look me up. And I do give out a lot of information and mindset tips, physical and emotional wellness on all of those platforms. So people can learn a lot, a little bit at a time or a lot at a time. It doesn't make any difference.
Caryn, it's been a pleasure having you on the show. You got any final thoughts for the listeners out there?
Final thoughts. Life is wonderful, and we have to work at it, and that's okay.
Jim, you got any questions? Any final questions for Caryn?
that was amazing. Well said.
Yeah, it's been a pleasure. Wellness Inspirations. You're going to want to check them out on the internet, Facebook, you name it. Caryn is there, and she will open your mind up to all these different possibilities on how to improve your mental and physical health. So thank you, Caryn.
Absolutely.
Big Jim, what do you got to say?
And in true padded room fashion, when the day gets long and shit gets real, you gotta
punch every day in the face.
Yeah.